Dev 4, and I think they have a Dev 5 now as well, or 6. So it's in development, and they're still working on it. But, as they're working on these things, I'm also playing with the settings, right? And once it's trained, it takes like 2 or 3 days perhaps to train the AI. It says trained, and it just says trained rather than waiting to train. But you still have some other settings, right, which are gibberish to the uninformed. So I have more reading to do and playing with it. But, since you were here, hey, let's ask Steve. It's a good game. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing, Bob. I was going to ask you, I've been thinking about going, you're going to laugh, but I've been thinking about, I'm kind of bored. I haven't been on the radio much. This is the 5th time I've been on the radio since February. I'm just so busy, severely sidetracked, but my wife is in Las Vegas right now, at a show for work where she works. They sent her out to Las Vegas. She's going to be there till Thursday. So I figured, what the heck? I'm going to get on the stinking radio. So thanks so much for coming back to me. I didn't think anybody would. But, question. It sounds like you run a very similar, almost identical setup to what I run. Now, do you ever use that diversity antenna for diversity reception? To check, because I'm assuming you said it's a 65-foot vertical, right? That's exactly what I'm running. So I'm curious if you use that as a cross-polarized diversity reception system. I'll give you my experience briefly. It's not often, if my memory serves me right, it's not often that it makes a huge difference. Sometimes it does. And I remember when I had the Anon, I would actually use the activate diversity noise canceling, and I would wind that sucker out, man. I'd get that thing smoking hot. And I'd mix the two. A lot of times I'd use the multi-RX, I'm not sure which exact radio you're on, if you're on a Hermes or an Anon or what, but just kind of curious what you found if you played with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have. And I'm running the Anon G2. And this was one of the early releases. They've changed 3 or 4 times as they've run out of parts and whatnot. But this has the Raspberry Pi. It's got the full display on the rig. But I use it with Thetis. I don't use the Anon independently unless I'm troubleshooting something and I want to rule out the computer part of it. And when I use the diversity reception and the multi-RX, I sometimes, get something. It sounds almost like multipath, right? You get kind of a flutter with the signal, and sometimes it just adds in perfectly, depending how I've got it set. I mean, setting it is, you're right. It's like you almost need a finer control. It would be nice to have a knob. And now, by the way, the new developments of Thetis, you can use the knobs on the rig with Thetis on the computer using cat control. But I just haven't gone down that road yet. I still have some other, and I still work for a living, so getting time on the air, I don't have full freedom with that. So I play with both tuning. I'll like lock the gain, right, and then I'll be tuning around very slowly to see what effect. And sometimes I can add the signals together, and even though one's vertically polarized, the other's horizontal, Many signals are composites, right? They've skipped a couple of times, and the polarization is really circular at that point. And so you can kind of futz around with that and get the two signals to actually augment, and you get a stronger signal. And at the same time, you're getting rid of some noise levels. So, that's perfect, right? But other times it's just a guessing game, and you kind of just go for I then just go for the lowest noise floor in which I can still copy the signal, that kind of thing. So it's all trade-offs, right? K1GMM, KI1N.
Yeah, KI1N, K1GMM. Yeah, you're right. Now, you mentioned something there which I noticed. The audio. I remember looking at the signal strength, right? And the signal strength really wasn't any different, bringing the other antenna in. But it does, because there are phase situations in propagation. There's also phasing situations with an antenna. Like you can actually build, let's say, a cubical quad, right? And if something's not quite right with that antenna, we all know that the quads produce the strongest audio and booming signal of any antenna known to man. I believe that. I've seen it firsthand. I have videos up of that stuff, right? Phenomenal antennas, but you can get some phase issues, which will show up in the audio. Don't ask. I don't understand all that principle. I had someone explain it to me years ago. Big antenna freak. And I'm just curious if you notice, because I notice it more often than not, where I bring that other antenna in, it doesn't necessarily make the signal bodacious, but the audio will jump. I don't know what it is. It's obviously some kind of phase relationship, right? One's horizontal, one's flat top, one's vertical, but it does matter sometimes. It makes a difference. Over.
Yeah, it does. And if you can match the opposite phases, you can actually beef up the signal. I don't know about the signal. I don't look at the meter when I'm doing this stuff. It's almost like, okay, it's whatever, because when I use diversity reception, it changes the S meter reading anyhow. So I'm really just looking at the waterfall and how much I can see a peak coming up over the noise level and listening at the same time. Sometimes I don't see any peak coming over the noise level, but I can still hear audio differences in that signal, not in the noise level. Noise level kind of stays the same, right? It's hissing or it's doing whatever it's doing, but and it's not like a specific QRM, like every 20 hertz you're getting a spike or something. This is just like, basic noise floor, noise level, atmospherics. And yes, you can actually beef up the audio noticeably. And it's either all of a sudden you think, oh, the band has changed on me, or did I do something with the reception antenna? I'm not quite sure, because, there are multivariables, so it's hard to pin that down. But I know when I'm playing with that, I can affect the audio. And I can lose a signal very well, by the way. I'm very, very good at that, and saying, oh, crap, and turn everything off and try and get it back. Have you noticed that? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I have. That G2. Now, okay, so the G2, you mentioned, I'm going to side rail here. That runs on a Pi, I take it. Now, is the G2 the rig with the controls on the front of the radio, kind of like a Maestro, a flex with a Maestro built in, like the 6400M, that type of thing? Is that the G2? Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. And it's got a Pi HP SDR system in it. So the Pi processor is responsible for all of the IOs pretty much for the control panel. And it also offloads some of the stuff from the Xilinx FPGA. So it's, running Linux. And I've done a number firmware updates, reflashing and whatnot. And they have a new one out. I have done the Pi. I've done, I think, everything with that, except maybe, the only thing I haven't done yet is the last development release on Thetis. So I could run the rig completely independently of an external computer and have most of the options available to me through Raspberry Pi. But the implementation is kind of clunky with the knobs and buttons. It's just not as clear as on Thetis, probably because of the landscape on the 7-inch screen. Now they've since increased that to 8-inch, and I suppose that's a help. But I still like the Thetis. Go ahead.
Now that K1GMM, now that Pi, you said it's a Pi 4, right? I'm sure it's a Pi 4 running. That runs that no problem. You said it is running on Linux, and we all know Linux is way more efficient than Windows. And you're running Thetis, I think you said, right? Now, Thetis is running on the Pi, or I don't know how to ask this question because I don't know anything about that. I've heard about it. But the Pi, so is the Pi the brains of the system? And the Pi is running as the computer instead of running a Windows computer, and the Pi is built into the rig, correct?
Yeah, the Pi is built into the rig, and it's running the IOs, and it's running Linux, right? And on the latest iteration of the G2, which I do not have, it can run Thetis locally, but this unit that I have cannot. So I'm running Thetis through Windows 11 i7 Nook, and that's the only way you can run Thetis with this particular system. And it goes finds the FPGA, whatever it needs, all the assets it needs through the Pi processor. I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Okay, I get it. So can you connect a monitor to the rig itself and use it with an external monitor? I'm assuming it's got a display. I'll have to look it up. I'm asking stupid questions. I can probably just go online and look. But yeah, can you do that? Kind of like some of the Asus, you just plug a monitor into it, grab a mouse, plug it into the radio, and run it standalone but it runs different software, right? Or can't you do that? What software is it actually running to make that thing work? Go ahead.
So running independently, it's running Pi, and you can use the mouse. Yeah, the mouse is connected. It's got Wi-Fi. You can connect a keyboard. It does not have a video out that I remember. I don't remember seeing an HDMI or anything for video out. It sounds kind of crazy, though. You would think it would, right? It might. I just don't even know. I've never tried it because it's got the screen in front, so you can use that. And if I'm going to use external computer, which I do, I've got a couple of monitors, 234-inch hanging off that, and, Bob's your uncle kind of thing. So, and I'm Bob. Get it? So the operating system is different. So that's why the interface looks a little bit different on the screen on the G2 than if you're using Thetis. Go ahead.
Okay. So what are you using for audio monitor? So if you're connected to the computer, do you have some kind of audio system that you're running? Just with Thetis, just have it set to send the audio straight out to your computer speakers, or do you have anything additional? Like because I like this stuff. I've got a couple monitors here with a Polk Audio subwoofer. which is a little excessive. I have to be honest, dude. At times, some of the audio, some of the guys that have that really bombastic audio. I mean, it's I gotta reach back, and sometimes it's so severe that I have to actually kick in a on the Rxdap system. I have to put a high pass on it, basically roll off. It's actually a low frequency roll off, like sub 80 hertz or something, or 100 hertz, because it literally the poor speakers are going to fall off the walls, dude. I can't have them hit the floor because they're going to get ruined. Yeah, so I was kind of curious what you got running there. I drive the wife crazy because it sounds like it just rumbles the floor upstairs. Go ahead.
I know what you mean, right? I've been sitting here in my chair, and I'm with a QSO with a couple of guys, and somebody else will break in with this booming audio. I like fall back, my chair tilts back, I fall back, I grab for my earphones. I'm like, holy crap, what the hell's the volume? Turning down or something. I kick in the receiver equalizer and narrow things down. Some of the guys go nuts, right? And I'm so jealous. I like to do that myself, but no. So for what I've done, I've tried a few different ways of profiling the mics. I've got 4 mics profile now. A studio mic, a couple of desk mics, and the Heil headset, which I'm on currently. And I've gone through different audio. I had a PreSonus box and an Audio Box Go box, and using Banana, whatever it is, and Cakewalk, and I've kind of done that and gotten so convoluted in it that I said, okay, let's go back to basics. So I've got the mic right now. I got the mic input to the rig, and I grab that in Thetis and put it through the equalizer and CFC in Thetis and send it back to the rig. So I do use the 20 dB preamp in the rig, and that's it. So no external audio toys at the moment, and it seems to work out fine with all of these mics. They're very happy going into the rig, and otherwise going into the computer using the virtual audio channel. I mean, I've done that, and I still use virtual audio on receive just to get the audio to the speakers, because I haven't hooked up to the computer. I haven't just hooked them up to the rig for whatever reason. And I've only had the rig for 11 months, and I started off, there were a few anomalies with the rig, right? So I had to take out the MXL label connector in the back because it wasn't grounded to the chassis. And so that, with that plastic connector, actually allowed a ground loop from the ground wire coming from the PC board, and it was getting RF feedback into the audio chain. So that produced an echo. So I pulled that jack out and put a normal quarter-inch TRS jack, still not MXL, but I put that in, and that grounded to the chassis. So that eliminated all that. That was instantaneous fix. Thank you very much. The front mic jack is reverse wired, so the hot audio goes to the shield. Don't even ask. Hard to fix because that's a PC 1/8 mount jack mounted on a PC board, right? So surface mounted it. So they don't want to fix that, I guess. So that's where I am. So that's a long answer to your question. So audio into the rig goes to the Thetis. I play with it there, send it back to the rig, and all is happy. At least I hope so. How's my audio? Okay.
Well, I'm recording it because the signal is so good and your audio is so gem clear. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, when you go in and listen to it, I'll post it to the channel. when you go in and listen to it, it's going to, I have the noise reduction on Uno. So the highs are a little bit brighter if I kick the noise reduction out. But it's insanely quiet. I mean, it's literally, it's like we're talking to each other in a padded room, padded cell or something, which I belong in a padded cell, you know that. So, the whole, Bob, there's something to be said for simple, I've been running this system now for, oh gosh, probably close to a year. It took me forever. It took me years to get everything stable, and the frustration level with the virtual stuff can reach a feverish pitch, as you know. But what I found is I just don't push it too hard. You know what I mean? Don't push it. Just let it settle in. Find the. I will always take stability over speed any day of the week now. I didn't used to be like that, but I do now. Now it's rock solid and stable. It always works. I light it up, it's always there. And well, you can tell me if you hear it stuttering or anything, but I haven't been told it's stuttering in a very long time. So, and I run Chiquita Banana and VST Host I have running on both the RX and the TX. So VST Host is hosting all of the plugins for both systems in and out. I had a friend of mine contact me. Well, he's an acquaintance. Frequents the channel. This was last week, and he asked me, he said, Windows did an update, and it destroyed my system. Screwed up his audio system. And he was running Cakewalk. And I told him, I said, well, I don't really know where to look. I said, most likely you're going to have to reinstall something. It messed it up. Now, it's never happened to me yet. But I told him, I said, I don't use Cakewalk anymore. I use VST Host because it's very lightweight. Cakewalk just turned into a pain in my arsenic. It's always updating and asking me to log in and do all this crap. And I won't use it anymore. And so, that being said, I have yet to have anything happen where I've had, a major foobar and had to go in and reinstall something. It's just always there. It always works. I light up Banana. I don't have, and it doesn't matter what sequence I light it up at. I light everything up at once. It all loads, boom, boom, boom. Get the radios up and going, the software, and it just works. So, needless to say, I've taken the rack. The rack is over in the corner, probably going to sell it. Everything is very, very clean. I have 2 monitors on the desk, power supply, the meter, and the control head for the PW1. Oh yeah, and the sound card. And it's like a dance floor, dude. I got all this room in the shack now. Go ahead, K1GMM.
Yeah, K1CMM from KI1N. Well, I like all your lights, right? And in watching your videos, I've been like, oh, wow, this is, really cool, right? And I've got, like my Mercury Luxes, got all the light bars going across it, and the tuner has the same thing. So that's all cool, right? I got animation there. I got 2 34-inch wide screens, which I kind of need because I was using an HD monitor and my eyes are getting so bad I couldn't read the dialog boxes on Thetis. I'd have to like roll my chair up to the screen, right? So then I got a 4K, and that is better. I still have to roll up, but I can see them more clearly. So I've got those going, and I figured I can always beat Steve if I want to, because I'm just going to mount a disco ball in the middle of my ceiling and have that going when I'm on the air. That'll be my on-the-air light. And I'm going to call Steve and say, okay, match this. But yeah, so the updates, I'll tell you a story. So my shack is just one of the bedrooms we have in our house, right? And I've had it here since the house was built, and have all the power coming up here and stuff. And the master bedroom is just one more doorway down the hall. And we leave the doors open at night. So about a week ago, my wife was really ticked at me. And Carol's a licensed ham. She sort of understands, but it's like, what the hell, Bob? So she came in like 2 or 3 in the morning, because all of a sudden there's like the glow of the sun coming from the Radio Shack. And she's thinking, oh my God, so something is either arcing in there. He's got a Gaussian ball. What is the Einstein? I forget what it's called. Degaussing itself or what. So the monitors were all on. And what happened was Windows Update decided, okay, it's going to update the system, and son of a gun, it lights everything up, which it was all sleeping, right? So she just slammed the door on the shack and told me in the morning, what's wrong with you, And I had to look, and that's what it was. I really hate it. I wish I could just eliminate Windows Update. I turned the switch off, right? But it doesn't matter. It still updates something once in a while. So, and that, of course, meant I had to reset all my screens, because with dual monitors, it doesn't save your configurations. So the logging program and the gray line clock and all, just messes with it. But yeah, I agree that simple is better. Now, my friends will tell you, some of my friends will tell you, that they thought I was nuts when I got the G2, because it took me, I'm sure it was 3 or 4 months to get it stable. There was always something either causing audio stutter or some other anomaly. And or they'd say, you're getting RF in your audio. I mean, that's the only thing people come up with. They automatically diagnose it. Oh, Bob, you got RF in your audio. Well, sometimes they were right, but sometimes not, right? So I'd have to, play with it. I'd turn something off, or I'd cut the mic gain back and eliminate the issue so we could carry an QSO in the group, and then later on I'd be playing with it on dummy load or something. And so that was going on for 3, maybe, I don't know, more months. But in the past few months, at least, I've gotten everything stable. I've got 4 mics profiled pretty well. And, everybody's happy. And yeah, as far as tempting the audio gods, I'll do that, but only once I retire. I'm 76 years old. I'm still working as a teacher. My first career was in the photo industry, which was, a little more fulfilling perhaps. But anyway, so I've been reluctant to retire, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it one of these days, just so I can put more time into my hobby. How selfish is that? K1GMM, K1
WA3GSL.
Yeah, WA3GSL, K1GMM, along with KI1X. Boy, I made a huge mistake there. Recognized. I'll put it over to you next, and I'll keep it brief, seeing as how you jumped in. My name is Steve, up here in southwest Vermont, about 15 miles north of Manchester, southwest side of the state. And why don't I put it right over to you? You can jump in here. Go ahead. What's going on? K1GMM.
We're located up in Potter County, Pennsylvania, the remote. And the other station that was in there, I was wondering, are you running Thetis?
This is Kilo India 1 November. Hey, Rick, it's nice to meet you. Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm running Thetis. Go ahead.
Well, I just got a Square SDR. It's been a challenge. Receiver always works fine. It transmits audio. And we're trying to figure out in Thetis, if I key the radio, and I'll keep this quick, I don't want to tie you up. But if I key the radio, hit the Mox button and don't talk, unplug the microphone, I still see an audio signal that is variable with the mic gain on the scope. Any idea what that is?
Well, I don't know that I've tried that, but I have no clue. But Steve, you might know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I had a friend of mine, we worked it out. He said, yeah, I key the radio. There's no signal going in. Oh, try this. On the left-hand side, where you can grab the scale on the left-hand side. You have your high and low range on the spectrum. You may be running the high range too high. I think that's because we tested it and there actually wasn't any signal going out. Now, have you checked it on the meter? So let's say you wind the thing up like 50%, and look at your power meter. And if you key the radio and you see that on the spectrum where it's got this steady noise, but you have to do it. I'm trying to remember exactly how we did this. You have to adjust the spectrum when it's keyed, not when you're in receive. So when you key down, you grab it and you drag it down with no audio input going in until there's nothing on the pan adapter. But you do need to check to see if there's actually output. There shouldn't be any output. Go ahead.
Well, we see some kind of an audio. It's like now this is like 70 dB down, but there is a display pops up there on the receive screen, and it's definitely audio. You can turn the mic gain up and down and make the level increase or decrease, and it doesn't matter if you have the microphone turned off. It's still there. We were just curious. I don't know if that's normal or not, and I haven't got anybody that can tell me one way or the other, or send me a screenshot of what it looks like on their monitor, their PC, when they're not talking. Just key up, hit the push to talk, and don't say a word. I have an indicator on there that it's like it's picking up noise. And I had one guy on the Hermes Light website that said, "Oh, well, you got that doggone VAC1 on. Well, if I turn the virtual audio cable off, I don't have any audio." And I have the latest version of Thetis running now, from MI0, whatever his call is. So, maybe in the old versions that was the case, but not in this. If you turn off the virtual audio cable, you speaker audio.
Now, have you checked? Like I said, have you checked to see if there's actually power going out, or is it just on the screen? When that thing's lit up like that, if there's no power going out, okay. I can't remember, you guys. Thetis, I believe it does have a noise gate or downward expander. Have you engaged the downward expander and adjusted that and made that disappear? But if you haven't adjusted the spectrum level when it's keyed for the audio, you need to do that first. That's the very first thing you got to do, because my 200D did the same thing. I key it up. I'm like, what the frick is that? There's no audio. I got noise gates running and everything. But there was this burst of crap on the spectrum. It wasn't putting out any power, but it was there. And I just found it by accident. I was keyed up and I right-clicked on the left-hand side of the spectrum and dragged that down until it disappears, and then talked into the microphone and went, voila, there it is. And it was dead silent when I was keyed up. If I wasn't talking, there was nothing going out. Go ahead.
The other station, what is it, in Vermont? I don't know who I'm talking to here. The W1. Can you go back a second?
Yeah, Kilo India 1 November. I think that's a great suggestion, Rick, to key up on the left side spectrum grid when you're transmitting and drag that to null that. But if you're using VAC and hitting MOX, you may actually be opening more than one audio channel too. I think it depends on the rig. Now on the Anon, of course, we've got a number of different audio inputs. And I think you said you're using a square SDR, so I'm not familiar with that rig at all. But is it possible that you've got multiple audio channels going? Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I copy. You fine. The other station that was trying to relay, I can't hear him. Audio's bass. He needs to put some more highs in there. I can't understand him, and there's some DX beginning to roll in right on top of it, too. The signal's kind of weak. But, yeah, the square SDR, if you turn VAC1 off, you do not use the virtual audio chip. On the latest version of Fetus, you don't have any audio. And another friend of mine, him and I, we spent 3 hours going through this morning, trying to find out, in Windows, if it was stopping it. But there's just no audio there. The Windows doesn't see audio if you turn off VAC1.
Yeah, so it might be something to look at in your computer itself, or the SDR rig to see if there's another audio path. But to answer your question, I haven't seen that on Thetis on my setup with the Anon. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. Yeah, and there must be DX coming in there in the back. Well, no, it works fine. I mean, I'm on it. And, I have right now I'm in SDR console. So, I don't see anything like that in console, but then it's not Thetis. Thetis is totally different, has a lot more capability, but a lot more responsibility, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, Roger. And by the way, I know you're having troubles hearing Steve, but I'm not. The signal is perfectly clear here. So I'm wondering if you may have some different kind of settings in your receive equalizer or something. Go ahead.
No, he's piss weak up here, Bob. He's really weak up here, but I hear him no problem. With the systems I run, I can hear him no problem.
Today off and on with other stations.
Okay, good.
It's just that bassy, and his signal's not that strong, so he's getting muffled by the background noise.
Yeah, okay. Well, Rick, it's probably just propagation. But anyhow, I'm sorry we couldn't really help you, but I'm sure you'll find that solution. Just keep on plugging. And that's what, I've had to do. Sometimes it takes me a couple of months to figure out what's going on, but eventually you'll find it, I'm sure. WATGSL, KI1N. Have a good afternoon there, Rick.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And, this is a Hermes Light, a fancier version of the Hermes Light. The guy repackaged it, put it all on one board instead of a couple different boards, and it comes prepackaged with a fan mounted on it, and it's made over in Czechoslovakia. It's the Square SDR. You can bring it up online. You can see the website, and so it's working. I guess my question was, since I never saw it before and never touched the software other than about 5 days ago, it seems like the radio is working fine. There's nothing wrong with it. He offered to replace it if I thought it was defective, but I don't think it is. So I'm just trying to get some more info on the Hermes Light and Thetis, and I just run into this difficulty. I post all the things that I run into, and people just don't read. They'll ask me a question that I just, completely and clearly explained that, what's happening, and they'll say, well, if I say I had the red power line
news to you, dude, but it's you. It's not them.
You have the red
Stop blaming other people for your ineptness.
It's difficult getting
Guy's
answers.
A tool.
When you're dealing with the general public out there, and there's not a company that wrote the software. So, hey, we thank you very much, and at least it's working. We got it working in console here, so that's a step in the right direction. Take care. Catch you
User
guys
error.
at PA3.
99.9% of the time, it's user error.
Okay, very good, Rick. Yeah, people, very often don't read very well, and they miss more than half of what they read. I'm a teacher, and I deal with that all the time. And on average, most students retain about 16% of what they read the first time. So, and some people don't read through your whole message. So, go figure. Okay, you have a great day. And Steve, that's kind of interesting. He's running a Hermes Light, and a lot of those have been shipping because they've packaged everything so nicely now. So I think we're going to see a lot more people getting into SDR just because of that. K313 is it one? It's one. K1GMM from KI1X.
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at. I'm still thinking about picking one of those up. K1GMM. I don't know, dude. I'm not sure. How many radios do I need? But it'd be fun to play with. I'm very familiar with the Anon platform. It's basically a poor man's Anon. It's what it is. It's not an Anon because it's only got a single ADC, but certainly capable, very capable, and cheap. Good Lord, $300 something compared to $3,000. Yeah, it's 10 times the cost. But you get a second ADC and you got diversity capability there. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll end up doing it. These systems, like you just said that. It took me 2 years to get that 200 running like a champ. 2 years, dude. Nobody helped me. I shouldn't say that. I think I got help from somebody once, but it was literally 2 years, man. And I could not get that stupid thing stable. Every time I lit it up, there was something wrong with it. Something wasn't right. Now I know exactly how to do it. I know what my, the mental episode I was having. But see, I knew going into it what it was going to be like. I had people warn me. If you're going to get into that type of radio and you've never played with one of those before, hold on to your freaking PTT is all I can say. Be patient. It's going to take some time. Get together. I was going to have you suggest to that other guy there, get up around 7222, up in that area. Those guys all run. They've all played with that stuff, and I know some of them are running them. They'll help them out. They'll have it. They'll get them going. Probably, they'll have that straightened out probably in a matter of 30 seconds. So there are some good groups on here that can help, especially on 40 meters. The resource, I was looking around online, Bob, on YouTube, and I was looking at the RF sampler, couplers, how to set them up, how to get them going. And I don't know. I'm very surprised. Maybe I just didn't come across it, but I'm surprised there isn't more information on the Hermes. More, how do you say it? I don't even know what the proper term is. Problem solving, displaying problems. But see, it's a tough thing to do. You have to be thorough, and you cannot. Assumptions are the mother of all cock-ups, right? So assuming someone knows what you're talking about is the first mistake, because a lot of guys, I've been caught before. Someone, people contact me, say, "Well, you didn't explain this. I don't know what you're talking about." Well, see, that's an assumption. I automatically assume people know what I'm talking about. Well, I've had the radio for, such and such amount of time, played with it, and worked through a bunch of this stuff. So I am assuming that everybody knows exactly what I'm talking, and they don't. They're new, So it's tough to find people who will walk you through stuff like that. That's why if he could do it on the air, it'd be great. Go ahead, K1GMM.
Yeah, Kilo India, 1 November. Well, you're so right. And you have to kind of go into these things with your eyes wide open. And I just got back on the air after a 35-year hiatus. Life kind of got in the way. So, and that was 2.5 years ago. Be 3 years in January. So I started off, instead of using some of the old gear out of the closet, I started off with a 7300, just bought one, and put up a couple of antennas, and had a nano VNA, and figured, okay, we'll start here and set things up and see how we go. But, the 7300 is a fairly simple rig to operate, and after a while, you're just operating. And, you're done learning the menus. Okay, got this all set, and I've optimized as much as I can, and that was it. So I wanted to get something that I could go on a journey with, and that would take me through retirement and, give me some challenges. And, so that was my basis. Now, I got to tell you, when I got into this, I had already looked at your video, or you had a couple of videos. There's another video just on the Anon. And so I started off, I ordered a 7000. Then after a couple of months, is it Angel, I think, emailed me and said, we can't get those parts anymore for the FPGA. You should get the Andromeda. Okay, so I ordered that. Then a couple of months after that, he contacted me again and said, we're not going to ship the Andromeda anymore. So we suggest you order the G2. And I'm like, okay, whatever you want to send, just, surprise me. So anyway, after a wait, I got the G2. And by that time, I opened it up and immediately, was flummoxed with a couple of things like the reverse wired microphone actually had me for a couple of days. I'm like, what is going on? Because I just pulled out an OD104 and figured, I'll wire this up for now, right? And hey, it's not working. So it took me a day. I said, wait, okay, I'm putting a VOM on the plug and see what the hell, right? And I'm like, so something is amiss here. So I finally figured out, okay, it's reverse wired. So, there was that, right? But there were lots of people that were helpful. I watched your videos numbers of times. There's W1AEX, Rob, great audio person, wonderful help. K1SR, another guy, I think he's towards your neck of the woods, Massachusetts or Vermont, somewhere up that way. And there's a group on 40 with KB2 UL Chaz, K2BU. What I screwed up his call. It's K2BU. Chaz has a group of people who all have anons and stuff. They're just wonderful help, and he just stepped me right through every audio setting in Thetis kind of thing. Here, set this on 33, stuff like that. So between you, me, the lamppost, all the guys on the air, and there are lots of them, I had the benefit of everyone, shoulders to stand on in setting this up. And it still took me months, maybe because I'm a little thick, I'm not a good learner, but probably because it's very complex. And, we deal with this in teaching all the time. There are irreducible complexities in life, and you cannot simplify them. But you try sometimes to simplify them just to express a thought, not realizing that you're dumping some stuff off that's essential, so that you lose context or other things when instructing like that. So that happens even with our informal groups, right? And you'll get led down a path which was well-intentioned, but probably not the best solution, considering you have some other issues that you've not even voiced to the person helping you, so there's that. But I was very fortunate. And I went through this, and it was, there was some frustration, but I knew that it was probably, just part of the journey. So I kind of liked it too, as well, right? And it was a challenge. And I'm in a stable. I shouldn't say this because I should stand on my left foot and pray to God that I don't jinx myself. But I'm in a stable place. Maybe an arm will not listen to me, and everything seems reliable right now, and I can kind of coast from here and exploring new things. And I've got all my profiles saved, and if I screw something up badly enough, just go back to them. So that's a great position to be in. But you never told me, what did you think of the disco ball idea? K1 GMM, I want it.
Speaking of Anand, gotta be a two-tone. Jump on in if you're listening, whoever that is. And I'm going to have to get out of here pretty quick. But the disco ball, you got me. Bling is important. Bling is important. You're gonna die when you hear this, right? So I had a friend, and you are so on the money with everything you just said. You can't please everybody. And I had to, let me just make a quick comment. I had to make an adjustment to how I approach things, because you can't help people that aren't willing to help themselves, right? I ran into situations where people wanted me to do everything for them. Well, that gets exhausting after a while, dude. And, same people just couldn't learn. I'm like, could you lift a finger? I've walked you through this literally half a dozen times. I have videos. That's why I do the videos, is so I don't have to do that. Everything that I know, which ain't much, is on that stupid YouTube channel. Everything that I know. So don't ask me, because I'm not going to know the answer. But, they gotta, at least, I have no problem helping people if they take the initiative to try. But if they expect me to just do it for them, that's, don't even lift a finger to help them. And then they're back like, a week later saying, oh, I screwed it up. Can you? I'm like, really? Seriously? Did you pay attention to anything? I know that sounds harsh, right? So I got this sign, this on the air sign from a friend of mine, Paul, over in the UK. He sent it to me as a gift. And I've been wanting to get this back in the shack. And there's no, if I was going to do it the right way, this is how much of a butcher I am. Total hack. But I love it here, where it is right now. You'll see it on the video. I've got this super high strength Velcro. It's adhesive Velcro, and it'll hold 10 pounds, right? That's what it's rated for. 10 pounds. So I put a strip of Velcro across the top of the monitor, which is just this little sliver, and a strip of Velcro across the bottom of the on the air sign that lights up. And I stuck it to the top of the monitor, and that's where it's at right now. When you see it, you'll be like, seriously, would you do it the right way? I had the strapping all out. I was going to, stain it and cut it, stain it, and screw it to the wall and put the sign on it. I'm like, screw that, man. 5 minutes, bang, boom, done. There you go. Tells you everything you need to know, Bob, K1 GMM.
Yep. Hey, you know what? Sometimes the most expedient ways are the best. I mean, we remodeled our kitchen, I don't know, 10 years ago, and it was like a $70,000 deal. Okay, we got a high-end cabinet company come in. I mean, $70,000 was a lot 10 years ago. Maybe not anymore. But so we had high-end. I hired an architect, and then I got rid of him because I didn't like those ideas, and I hired somebody else. That didn't work. But I ended up getting enough of different ideas that we kind of knew, okay, this is where we really need to go. So I went to custom cabinet maker. Can you do this? Yes, 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 and all that. So very, very good. But there was, where was I going with this? There was one nitpicking thing that I wanted. Oh, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, that's so weird. That's old age. There was something I wanted to mention about that remodel that was screwy. And now I can't. Oh, yeah, I got it back. Oh, my God. That was like a brain fart, right? So, okay, here's the point that I was thinking of. And, gee, I'm going to have to get younger. So the backsplash, we just couldn't figure out what we're going to do. So, and we had gone to the lumber yards and stuff like that. So we found this tacky, fake, like old world metallic ceiling, like the metal ceilings of 100 years ago, the stores would have, right? And it had floors is a square design, and you just
that's awesome
they made it out of metal, the whole sheet metal. But stuff. These things are just like 8x8 inch squares, and you tack them up with double-sided tape, and they have something for your outlets to cover it, and corners and stuff like that. So it costs maybe $100 to do the whole backsplash. And look, we'll just throw this up for now, I told Carol, and we'll worry about it afterwards. Let's just get done with the whole thing. That's the backsplash for the next month, and then we'll have somebody come in and do the stone. We couldn't agree whether it should be match the quartz countertops or it should be contrasting or what. Well, that was 10 years ago. We now love it. We've had designers come and say, "Oh, I love your backsplash." They think it's real. Oh my God. So anyway, that's my story. Hey, I know you got to go, and I'm going to get out of here too for a while. But hey, nice talking to you, Steve, and good to catch you on. You sound great as always. And oh, by the way, your videos, of course, are always a hoot. Love them a lot. K1GMM, KI1.
KI1X, K1. I'm having a hard time getting my foot on the pedal here. KI1X, K1GMM. I love that stuff. Right when you were describing it, I'm thinking, I said it out loud. I said, oh, I love those things. That type of, some of the old buildings, you'll see that. That's what you're talking about, right? The metal tiles. They're like square tiles, and they're patterned. Killer. I don't know. Call me a freak. I'm okay with that. We'll catch up with you later, Bob. Thanks a lot for coming back to the call. This was really nice, and it was kind of the spark that I needed. I think kind of inspirational. So at some point, I'd like to talk more about because you're a teacher, teaching styles. Something I'm fascinated with. I used to teach at a boarding school in Manchester. Teenagers, roughly 14 to 18 years old. They were last step before Juvie Hall, one of those types of places. But brilliant. Kids were brilliant. So maybe at some point I can kind of pick your brain on just kind of hear your thoughts on teaching styles and say, you've been doing it a long time. I didn't do it that long, but a lot of people say I'm a natural and I have a good teaching style. Don't know anything about it, but that's what I've been told. And it was one of the most successful things I've ever done. I shouldn't say successful, but rewarding. Very frustrating at times, but incredibly rewarding. And I got some amazing stories I could tell you about transformations with some of these kids. I mean, just amazing. So anyways, we'll catch you later. Final thoughts, all yours. KI1X, we'll look for you again anytime. Anytime you're in here, you hear me in here, come back. Even if it's a quick hello. K1GMM.
Yeah, it's been nice catching up with you, Steve. And my call, by the way, is Kilo India 1 November, not X-ray, KI1N November. And the teaching thing, I'd be happy to talk to you anytime about that. And, collaboration is part of the deal when you're a teacher. And I teach a doctorate program in business administration. So I teach at a university with global students all around the world. And so we get all kinds of different cultures of people with the same goal, not necessarily motivated in the same way, but the same end goal. So it's really very interesting. I follow my students in the dissertation process for about 3 years as I mentor them once they've completed their coursework, which I'm teaching some coursework now, but I prefer not. I prefer just doing the mentoring and, helping with writing and stuff like that. But yeah, we can talk about that anytime. My email is goodinqrz, and we can get on the phone or what have you. Or on ham radio. It can be an interesting QSO. I've had QSOs that last longer than I care to admit. It just happens. I don't know why. Yes, and you have a very good methodology of teaching, unbeknownst to you. But the casual conversation with yourself that's inclusive works very well for you, and it does for many teachers. So we could talk about that. Hey, 73 Steve, K1GMM, KI1.
Yeah, sorry about the X-ray. KI1N. I'd say I'm dyslexic, but that's not true. I'm just a little off my rocker, I guess. We'll see you later, Bob. Yeah. I would do it over the air. What the heck, man? At least, if it's entertaining for some people, it'll give you something different. I'm always looking for something different to listen to, How often do you peruse the bands and find something really interesting, different to listen to? I do find stuff. I was listening this morning to a group on here. I was like, that's pretty cool. I was doing some computer work, and I just sit here and listen. I listen about 80-90% of the time, and I yap the rest. Hard to believe, right? Catch you later. 73 K1GMM.
Take care.
K1GMM. Do you copy November 0 Bravo Golf Sierra and 0 BGS?
I do. Let me get my logger up. N November 0 Bravo Juliet Sierra, I think, right? Name is Steve. Kilo 1 Golf Mike over here in Vermont. Over.
Hey, Steve, the call is November 0 Baker, Germany, sugar, like no birds go south. My name's Kurt, K-U-R-T. I'm just outside of Bangor, Maine. Been listening to you guys here for a little while.
Oh, wow. Yeah, great signal, Kurt. I didn't look at it. Sorry about that, Kurt. November 0 Bravo Golf Sierra. I was just stepping out. But, thanks for making the call. I'll give you a report on the next go. What are you running over there? We're pushing about 400 going out here. Good path to Maine. Did you say you were in Bangor? What do you got running there? Crystal clear audio. Perfect mod. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Glad to hear that. I'm running in a non-10, about 250 out at the moment, into a RM Italy amplifier and a $5 USB microphone. Sorry, I didn't realize you were trying to get out of here, Steve. I just wanted to ask you one thing. I've been having problems with the Anon 10 lately where it won't negotiate gigabit. It just won't negotiate it with my switch. I'm a network engineer, so I know a little bit about this. And I wonder if you've run into that before. I'm wondering if I should going to need to replace the Ethernet chip in the Anon or what's going on. It's really annoying. Just wondering if you've seen that, Steve. Over.
I had my Anon in the switch, and I'm going to make a recommendation, and you're probably going to balk at it, but let me just tell you what happened to me. The difference between going through, because I have a gigabit switch here, gigabit LAN, it's a decent system. I live in Vermont. It's state of the art. It's probably one of the best in the world, if not the best in the country. Internet systems, but the local LAN is top shelf, right? It was Carl, a guy named Carl. He's down in New Jersey. I told him the problems I was having, and he says, get yourself it's cheap. I think it was like $30. He says, you got to get that wire direct to the computer. Screw that switch. Get it off the switch. Get it off your LAN. So I picked up who makes it? I got it off of Amazon. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I just talked about it this morning with someone. It's a 2-channel LAN card. And I picked that up, put it in the computer, put that radio plugged it directly into the computer, boom, found it instantly, lit it up, and I ran that for 2 days at maximum sample rate, like 1,600,000 and something thousand, with not a single sequence error. For 2 straight days, I let it sit there and idle, and I checked the error log, to see if I got any errors. That thing, dude, it was like someone kicked it right in the you-know-what. I never went back to a LAN switch. I just bought that card, and I'm trying to think of who makes it. And I picked up, I use cables that are way overkill, but they were cheap. They were inexpensive. They're like a steel braided LAN cable. So I plugged the radio directly into that card. I'm telling you, man, don't even screw with that switch anymore. Pick up one of those cards and just plug it directly in. It'll find it, it'll see it, and you'll be off and running. You'll never look back. The audio, the communication, no contest. Go ahead.
A1 GMM and 0 BGS. Okay, well, thanks for the idea. Actually, I got dual NICs in my computer right now. I run a 2.5 gig LAN with 10 gig fiber between the switches. This is like mine is bigger than yours, right? But I guess you'd have to set up a static address or let it do the Microsoft PIPA stuff. The 169.254xx addresses. Not that should really matter, but I'll give that a try, because, like, as you guys were saying earlier about these things messing, these anons, I would call them fidgety. And anybody that isn't ready for a fidgety radio, where sometimes it works how you want and sometimes it doesn't, I would say should not go anon. But the other problem I've had is giving it a static. I guess you got to run Thetis as admin to actually set a static address, as far as I can tell. And I've also set up DHCP reservations on my LAN so that it always gets the same address, and that kind of worked. But maybe I'll try what you're talking about, and I'll just connect into the second NIC on the computer here and see how that goes. Over.
Yeah. I would. Sorry about that. I would try that. Well, don't even try it. Just do it. I'm telling you, just do it. Now, there was something I had to do on the card. What did I do? I took it out of what mode? Because I ran the Sun and the Anon. The Sun, which I'm on right now, went into one port. I'm actually going to order another card anyways, because I sold it with the Anon that I had. I sent it down the road, and that was a huge mistake, because they're always worth having. Yeah, you can see, you're an IT guy. You'll know exactly. If you said it, I'd know it. I'd know what you're talking about. I changed the mode of the card on that port that the Anon came into it, and I honestly didn't think it was going to see it. It found it, and it lit right up. Shouldn't have to do anything aside from changing the mode on the card. But the biggest benefit you're going to find is the stability. I don't know what it is about the LAN systems with that radio. At least the 200D, I can only speak personally about that. But all of my problems were solved when I did that. That radio became... I worked for 2 years to get that radio stable. Finally, when I put that card in, all the problems, the bugs went away. Never had another issue. Every time I lit it up, it was there. It was a speed issue because, you know, you get... Once in a while, you get some sequence errors. You get some buffering. And the other thing I found is trying to push them too hard is not a good idea. Like what I was talking about there's inherent latency with any of these SDRs. There's no reason to push these into a Formula One race car because they're not going to do it. Stability is going to suffer. So you're always better off backing off a little bit. Push it to where it becomes unstable, or and back it off, or bring it up slowly until you're satisfied and it's stable. And it ain't stable until it's running at least 2 months without one I don't care what anybody says. Oh, yeah, mine's stable. Well, how long has it been stable for? Oh, you know, I just got it, you know, it's been running great for a week or two. No. No way. That thing better be stable for a minimum of 2 months. Every day you light it up, it's there. That's stable. Go ahead.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I think propagation's changing a little bit. You were like 10 over with me throughout the duration of this QSL, and now you're like down to 5.6, 5.7, but hopefully it'll come back. Oh, by the way, I'm running a 570-foot loop at about between 40 and 60 feet, depending on where it is. All right, that's a good idea. Maybe you're talking about the maximum transmission unit on the NICs, the MTU possibly, or there's another mode where you don't let Windows determine what the priority of the traffic is through there. Maybe you're referring to that. I've read about some of this in the forums that I believe you're referring to. I can't remember the exact term either. But actually, I implemented that. I didn't see any problem, or rather any change. But the problem I've been having, like I said earlier, is it just won't negotiate gigabit all of a sudden. I did get a new 24-port switch, so that may be the whole problem. And I got to turn it off and turn it on and turn it off and turn it on and then just go through this, and then it won't transmit, and then it will transmit, and it's just like, You know, I love the radio and it works. Absolutely love it. I've got a FTDX 100D, and I haven't turned the thing on in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months now, because I've had this silly little Anon that's just, it's so fun to use when it works. Anyway, let me let you get out of here, Steve, because I feel like I'm holding you up here, but appreciate the insight, and I will try again on the other NIC on the computer and see if that stabilizes things. Oh, one other thing I do want to mention, just you can put this in your library. Mine, you know, it has the little, the blue case with no vent holes whatsoever on the Anon 10, which to me was a stupid design decision. And it was unstable and unstable and unstable, and I tried all different firmwares. So what I ended up doing is I took a CPU cooler from an old motherboard, an Intel, just stock, a CPU cooler, and I stuck the little nylon feet into the grooves of the heatsink on top of the thing, and I put 12 volts to it. So now that fan just runs all the time externally and blows on the top of the Anon 10 case. And ever since I did that, it's been stable as a rock. Go figure. So 7.3, and thanks for the info. I'll check out your YouTube channel you guys were talking about. Hope to work you again, Steve. K1GMN 73N0BGS.
Okay, N0BGS. I thought I logged you, but I didn't, Kurt, so I brought the logger back up. And just a quick little note, you were 10 over, about 10 over on the last go. And yeah, QSB is fairly sharp, but you're pretty stable. You're anywhere from an S7, S8 to a 10 over, so the band's just doing a circle jerk routine. It could be that switch. It sounds to me like the switch because, and I'll end it here and don't even come back to this. That switch that you put in, I never had a connectivity issue ever on the Anon when I had it. Every time I turned it on, it would light up, but I had stability issues. It was always connected. Once I initiated the connection, when I installed the software and I first got it, boom, there it was. But my gut tells me it's probably the switch, to be honest with you. Pull that switch out, put something else back in, and you'd probably be back in business. Just my gut, but I'm no expert. We'll catch you later. And yeah, thanks for jumping in, and all the best of luck there. Yeah, they're powerful rigs, aren't they? Insanely powerful, and the front ends are freaking wicked on those things. Best front ends on the planet. They're crazy, aren't they? Anyways, we'll see you later, Kurt. N0BGS, K1GMM, I'll be clear.
Thanks, Steve. 7-3.
N0BGS from Kilo India 1 November.
Kilo India 1 November. Go ahead, N0BGS.
All right.
Yeah, I was just thinking, when I had issues where I was losing packets or getting some distortion, stuff like that, and I have gigabit switch and stuff, and high-end cables. I finally just resolved and went right to the computer from the rig, and that was the end of the issues, provided I didn't overload the computer with other tasks. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, that seems to be what Steve
I don't know how long
suggested as well as the
apologies.
best possible solution. I am going to try that again. I actually tried that a couple days ago. I didn't have any luck.
Anyways, we'll catch you later, guys. Have a good day. Good evening.
The cards went out on the same subnet, so I'm going to have to fix that. That is